now from the IBA at Winchester, engineering announcements for the radio and television trade.
Hello again and welcome to another Tuesday bulletin of engineering information for the radio and television trade. Hieroglyphics or meaningful international symbols? We look at the indications on television remote control panels and try to make it all seem less confusing. In transmitter news, our usual summary of special announcements for the week and the latest on new television relays at Kelvindale near Glasgow, Trefor in North Wales and Luscombe Valley at Poole in Dorset.
We often hear of people having difficulty in understanding the labelling of remote control handsets for television receivers, and even some of the controls on the sets themselves. The problem is particularly acute on European sets where symbols are used instead of words or abbreviations. With most handsets now including all the functions needed for normal TV, teletext and VCRs, it's no wonder there's some confusion. Some attempt has been made to standardise the pictorial symbols, but they can still be difficult to decipher and there are some glaring inconsistencies. Sometimes the instruction books aren't much help either, although the biggest hurdle is finding the bit that's in your own language. The symbols used are generally based on the international and British standards specified for audiovisual, video and television equipment and systems. Many of the functions are covered, but by no means all, teletext being a particular nightmare. We've looked closely at 4 makes of set to compare the various interpretations on the remote control handsets. We've chosen sets from Philips, Nordmender, Sony and the German manufacturer Löwe, usually pronounced Lowy in this country.
There's general agreement over the basic picture and sound labelling. These functions have been around a long time and the symbols are pictorial enough to mean something. But what, for example, does this mean? It actually means switching the set off into a standby mode and comes from a combination of the on symbol and the off symbol. There's also an on-off symbol, usually for the main switch. Tuning a set is often not very obvious, but maybe it's just as well these days, as viewers should not need to adjust this themselves. But does every dealer know what an arrow pointing towards a dot means, or 2 arrows pointing away from a dot? The first one is automatic station search, scanning the band until it finds something. The international standard defines this function rather blandly as effect or action towards a reference point. The second one is actually fine-tuning, which is officially effect or action in either direction away from a reference point. Perhaps it's beginning to make sense, except that Sony used the same double-arrowed symbol to indicate auto station search.
What about this one? It's action from either direction towards a reference point, which in TV set terms means reset to standard or factory set picture and sound settings. Of course, there are off-putting differences in the style of symbols, which can confuse the unwary. For example, the Nordmender reset symbol at first looks quite different from the Lowy version, but it's easy to see that it's saying the same thing. Sets just for the British market would simply write the word reset or normal. For the more exotic TV sets, the international standard symbols begin to run out of scope. Spatial stereo, for example, is indicated in quite different ways on the Nordmender, the Philips and the Lowy control panels. The standard symbol for stereo is all that is specified by the standards bodies, but a nice logical extension by Lowy gives separated circles to indicate Audio 1 or Audio 2 selection.
It's in the area of teletext where the confusion really sets in, and where some people simply give up and start pressing buttons randomly until they get what they want. Most manufacturers agree on the basic picture mode and text mode indications, and some teletext buttons have got the 3 horizontal lines to indicate text accompanied by a further specific symbol. There's broad agreement across our 4 sample brands for double height text, where arrows indicate an increase in size, and vertical arrows pointing towards each other always seem to indicate hold. Nordmender actually print the word stop. and a small analogue or digital clock face universally symbolises timed text, or more appropriately, sub-page coding. Rather less agreement over cancel text. Phillips and Sony have a logical crossing out sign, but Lowy have a symbol which suggests a move away from text, but which confusingly means stored page advance on Phillips sets. Normenda don't seem to have a cancel function at all. Reveal is generally catered for by a question mark, but Lowy have a symbol which shows text being uncovered by the action of pressing the button.
Most people know what a teletext mix button does, but only Normenda print the word. Phillips and Sony try to indicate half text, half picture, but Lowy use this symbol, which is easily confused with a similar one we had just a moment ago, for cancel text. With more and more teletext sets having more than one page of memory, there's scope for more confusion. Phillips used these two fairly standard symbols to indicate storage to and recall from a page memory. Sony used this first symbol to select the preset tuning mode. Lowy used a similar idea to move backwards or forwards in a sequence of stored pages. This rather unhappy-looking symbol is used by some to indicate the 21-pin peritelevision or SCART socket. The corresponding symbol on the selector button, and also on screen in some cases, indicates that the baseband AV inputs have been connected rather than the tuner. We can only assume that the symbol looks happier when the connector is successfully mated with its other half.
But seriously, there is some logic and consistency being applied, although it's arguable that symbolic identification of technical functions is more appropriate to the technically minded rather than the layman. But even if a picture does paint 1,000 words and crosses the language barrier, it does help if the symbols are large enough and clear enough. In subdued lighting, choice of colours and backgrounds is important, and with the tendency to have a standard handset across a whole product range, the lesser models often have irrelevant buttons in amongst the relevant ones. Compare this Sony handset with an older Pi example and see the two extremes. Even so, we hope that understanding what the symbols are trying to say helps in remembering what they mean. Once over that hurdle, it really isn't as bad as it first seems, is it?
Satellite news now, and test transmissions from the first European high-power broadcasting satellite, the French TDF-1, are now well underway. Not only are these the first high-power DBS signals receivable in the UK, but they're also using the MAC transmission format. Needless to say, we've already had a go at receiving the signals, and with a 30-centimetre dish, the reception was very robust indeed, free from noise or interference. It was instructive to move the dish and see the effects of poor pointing accuracy and how our professional receiver and decoder behaved with a lower signal.
Only the colour bar signal was being transmitted, but it's a critical test. With the MAC decoder bypassed, it's possible to see the time-compressed analogue components, although with no conventional syncs, the monitor couldn't be expected to lock up. It's certainly good to see a high-power MAC system in action. Both the quality of the results and the ease of reception bode very well indeed for BSB next year.
If you're in the trade and you'd like to hear more about current and future developments in broadcasting, we've some places left on our December dealer visit to Crawley Court. It's on the 15th of December, starting at 10:30, through until about 4 o'clock. If you'd like to book a place, please phone us on Winchester 822 587 as soon as possible. That's Winchester 822 587.
Special announcements now, and in Cornwall, Channel 4 from the Red Roof main station is on reduced power today, tomorrow and Thursday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. This is for feeder cable maintenance.
In Surrey, the Hazelmere relay will be off today from 9:30 until 4. This is for a transmitting aerial overhaul.
Electricity Board maintenance affects two relays today, Trawden in Lancashire between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, and Treveccan in South Wales from 10:30 until 11:30 this morning.
In the Bristol area, the Dundry VHF transmitter for GWR radio is liable to reduce power throughout today for transmitter work.
Tomorrow, the Worley relay in Lancashire is due off between 10 a.m. and midday. This is for essential electrical maintenance.
On Thursday, the Horton Green relay in Greater Manchester is due off from 10 a.m. until midday for Electricity Board maintenance.
And for the same reason, Bury St Edmunds will be off the air from 2 p.m. until 3:30 p.m.
New relays now, and in Scotland, northwest of Glasgow city centre, Kelvindale is now expected on the air next week, after a short delay caused by aerial problems. It'll cover about 2,000 people in parts of Kelvindale and Maryhill. Scottish Television and TVAM will be on Channel 30 and Channel 4 on 48. The wide channel spacing means that vertically polarised Group W aerials will be needed. Kelvindale in Glasgow is hoped to be on the air next week.
In North Wales, in Gwynedd, a relay for Trefor is due on the air in mid-December. About 660 people will benefit in and around Trefor. Some 50 people near the coast will also be covered, but could at a future date experience occasional co-channel interference from a proposed transmitter in Ireland. Programmes from HTV Wales will be on Channel 49 with S4C on 42. The aerial group is B, vertically polarised. Trefor is expected to be ready in about the middle of December.
Moving down to Dorset, a relay for the Luscombe Valley area of Poole is also due on air in mid-December. It's being built in Clifton Road and it'll cover about 210 people in the immediate area. Programmes from TVS will be on Channel 49 and Channel 4 on 42. Group B aerials will be needed, vertically polarised. Luscombe Valley in Poole is due on the air in mid-December.
And that's all for now, but do contact us if you have any technical queries on independent broadcasting. Our address, Engineering Information, Independent Broadcasting Authority, Crawley Court, Winchester, Hampshire, SO21 2QA. Our telephone number is Winchester, that's 0962 822444. To make it a local call from anywhere in the country, you can also dial our link line, that's 0345 078787. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 9:10. So from Adrian Good and from me, Janet Smythe, goodbye until next week.